Well, we've seen how they do post-apocalyptic movies in Italy, so now let's see how they do them in the good old US of A. With a little bit of help from Israel. This is America 3000. America 3000 is a 1986 post-apocalyptic movie produced by Cannon Films, who's best known for producing hits like Missing in Action, Cobra, and Bloodsport, as well as producing a bunch of bombs like The Apple, Superman 4, and Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. But whatever, Cannon produced Life Force, which was a bomb, and I like that movie. So who knows, maybe this will be a cult classic like that one. Is there at least some nudity in this thing? Alright, well whatever, let's just get on with it. It wouldn't be a post-apocalyptic movie without some opening text, and this movie is no different, telling us that 900 years after a nuclear war, there emerged a new order. And every year they celebrate that new order on the holiday known as Blue Monday. Wait a second, what's this? And the world was Wagos? In old speak that means crazy? Old speak? You sure that's not just Australian? So in the future, the world looks a lot like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh, my mistake. It's actually Braveheart. So the basic premise is that after the apocalypse, the world is split into rival male and female factions, or, as this movie calls them...
They caught me and a bunch of others on a Plugot roundup. Plugots are what the Frowls called us then. That's a Frow. They ran everything.
Okay, so instead of men and women, it's Plugots and Frowls, which kind of sounds like an early 90s children's toy.
And that's me, Gruss.
Man, post-apocalyptic Wonder Years is really weird. Although not as weird as this dialogue.
Their ruler, the Tiara. She was giving us hot scan, deciding what she was going to do with us. I didn't need heavy smarts to figure things were going cold naked. That means very bad.
So then just say very bad then. This is going to be a very long movie if you have to explain all your dialogue. Look, the whole futuristic language thing can work in a book where you can just include a glossary that says what everything means, or do what Clockwork Orange did and have the words mostly be slang that the audience has to figure out for itself. But stopping to explain to the audience what the words mean kind of defeats the purpose of having the futuristic language in the first place, doesn't it? At this point, we see the Frau leader, who kind of looks like what would happen if Lisa Kudrow went beyond Thunderdome. Looks like it's time to find out more about this futuristic world.
The Frowls called their slaves machos. Sure wasn't something I wanted to be.
What? You don't want to be a macho man? Have the village people taught you nothing?
Cedar.
Cedars were for one thing and one thing only. Making baby Frowls.
My God, he's gonna be forced to be a sex slave to a bunch of hot barbarian women. A fate worse than... You know, I can't think of anything that's worse than. So the main characters are Mr. Narrator here and Corvus. And I guess they're both still at the age where they think girls are icky since they immediately hightail it out of there. Wait a second, they're in Denver? Well, that explains it. I knew legalizing pot would lead to the end of the world.
We headed straight for the old radiation.
And then they died of leukemia.
We didn't know what we'd find there. But we knew one thing. They wouldn't follow us inside.
Probably because they know what the word radiation means, you idiot. By the looks of it, they've wandered onto the set of 2019 after the fall of New York. And the radiation must be strong since they've now mutated into adults. Corvus learns to read using a book he finds, while Gruss learns to look like a hipster after finding a top hat. Also, Corvus finds the book when he's a kid, which means it apparently takes him almost 20 years just to learn how to read.
Man. I'm a man.
No, that's not how you say that. Here, Linkara, would you kindly show him how to properly deliver that line?
With pleasure! I am a man! Oh, neat.
So once again, the proper way to deliver that line is...
I am a man!
Man, if Corvus is able to rebuild civilization using that book, just imagine what he'll accomplish once he discovers Clifford the Big Red Dog. So what are the Frowls doing?
Frau was taking her final warrior's test, trying to survive a meeting with Arg the Awful. Fallout from the great news forced Ark to take a detour from the human race.
I'll say, he looks like one of the goblins from Troll 2 after a dose of gamma rays. Also, what kind of feminist society lets a giant hairy man-beast beat up and kill their members? The Frau leader ends up getting stabbed by some people that time forgot rejects, but Frau sorority rules mean you still have to keep taking shots even after you passed out.
Linkara, Vina, my children.
Children? How the hell can they be your kids? They're like 5 years younger than you.
Time's now for a new tiara.
The Frau leader is called the Tiara because, you know, girls. The leader was originally called My Little Pony, but the men ended up taking that away from him.
Vina, my daughter. You the tiara.
Rhea, please. I don't want to be Tiara.
Too late, I'm dead. Shortly after that, the camp gets a visit from another band of Frauls, and already I'm learning so much more about this world. For example, now I know that the Frauls have lots of makeup but no mirrors to see how to put it on. I better be quiet though. Looks like this lady's about to give an important speech.
Once the world was green and living. Then was the great nuke. Death lived everywhere.
Yes, death lived everywhere, and oxymorons ruled the land.
But some disobeyed the regs. Blue gods to be hunted and nuked till Negi are left.
Okay, well, now I know what Hitler's speeches would have sounded like if they were written by Dr. Seuss. Well, that was a stirring speech. Now let's party.
The Frauls were having a hot time, but we were getting ready to give them a hot time of our own.
Frauls, hot party and getting all loose and woggled.
Okay, I don't know what the hell you just said, but I'm just gonna assume you're about to go on a panty raid. Seriously, the dialogue in this movie makes it hard to tell what the hell they're planning.
Necky Gruss, nuking Frauls gets us nothing but nuked Frauls.
This kind of hide and seek and makes me feel cold.
Well, you gotta get hot on new ways, Gruss. We waited a long, cold time. Neggy more machos.
This is like if Jodie Foster's character in Nell made a sci-fi movie. Apparently their plan is to just take the Frau's food and free their prisoners, and it's a good thing Corvus opened up that gate since there's no way they could have just climbed over it.
We expected the machos to greet us with open arms. We were wrong.
Well, of course they can't greet you with open arms. Their hands are tied, dumbass. Also, nice to know Corvus's priorities as leader include peeping in on Vina while she's sleeping. I'd ask what he was gonna do before this guy interrupts him, but I don't think I want to know. They seem to be having an easy time freeing the prisoners and stealing their food, although that's probably helped by the fact that the Frauls apparently didn't post a single guard or lookout. Of course, Corvus has to screw it up by freeing male-patterned Bigfoot here and waking up the entire camp.
Frauls were Negi loose and Wago now. They were cold pissed.
Hey, pissed, a word I can actually understand. Thanks, movie. Also, I think post-apocalyptic Rhea Perlman may be up to something shady.
This attacks plastic for us. We'll get rid of Vina, put in Linkara, and I'll be riding high.
Okay, I'm just gonna assume from your makeup that whatever you just said is evil. Well, you screwed up that raid, Corvus. What's your plan now?
I'm gonna lead those Friscos into the contest. Let me go with. Necky Gruss, this is my screw-up.
Yes, it is your screw-up. Everything was going fine until you freed Cue-Ball Chewbacca.
Stop it!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Chewbacca? I meant Jar Jar.
Now, horse! Ha! Ha! Ha!
Oh shit, Corvus just rode off into an 80s training montage. And I gotta hand it to Corvus, since not only did his plan hinge on the Frauls only chasing after him and not the rest of the Plugots, but he also apparently had no idea where the hell he was going. I think I'm starting to figure out why it took this guy 20 years to learn how to read. Not that these two are much better.
That effing Plugot tricked me.
Plugot's got neggy smarts for tricking nobody.
That's a double negative. I think. Corvus proves he's a master of escaping by running around in circles like a jackass, which goes about as well as you would think.
It was not turning out to be one of Corvus's hotter days.
And by that I mean he died. No, just kidding. Turns out Corvus was saved by his book, which clearly wasn't there before. But whatever, he's got an amazing new discovery to make. Oh no, he's wandered into a Bruno Mattei movie! Run, Corvus!
Arms?
No, those aren't arms. You've just broken into Michael Jackson's wardrobe, you idiot. So in case you're wondering what's going on, it turns out Corvus stumbled onto the fallout shelter of the President of the United States, which not only has a laser gun, but also its own video arcade? That is a gross misuse of taxpayer money, Mr. President. But who am I kidding? If I was the president, I'd probably do that too. It's also nice to know that even the president can't resist putting the word ass in the high score charts.
Mr. President, it now appears, sir, that the NORAD warning computers reporting a massive Soviet first strike were in error.
Talking pictures, Wagos, Negi President here? Just Corvus.
Okay, seriously, what the fuck are you saying? It's like the script of this movie was translated into another language using Babelfish, then translated back into English using Google.
However, in compliance with standing presidential orders, our computers initiated a total retaliatory response.
So in summary, America started World War III. Our bad. No time to worry about that, though. Corvus has got to dress up so we can go back to 1955 and scare Crispin Glover. Or this guy'll do, I guess.
President gonna free all men from thralls. If Lels helps, the president will help Lels. But if Lels hurts...
Damn, that suit even comes with its own music sting. I suppose now's about time for a good old exposition dump.
The new Tiara of Vina worried about proving herself. And Tiara of Kansas wanted to be Tiara of Frisco. And Vina's hot friend Linka been seated.
And this Linker, hot tight with Vina?
Plastic hot, great one from the time they were small.
Alright, so that's happening.
President.
He can still see you. Back at the camp, Gruss and company are busy trying to rehabilitate the machos, which consists of shoving their faces in toilet water. And take that hat off, will ya? You look like Caveman Lincoln.
What's it, Real?
I don't know.
It is I, my friends, Corvus. I bring with me gifts of weaponry and cheesy 80s rock music. Corvus may have brought the weapons, but Gruss remembered to bring the alcohol. Ah, well, I see Pabst Blue Ribbon still exists in the future. Hey, look, they've got comics to show them how to use the weapons properly. Next, they can learn about the birds and the bees from Lost Girls. Now that they've got their new weapons, the Plugots' first order of business is to kidnap a Frau that's about to be seated. What? They're tying her up so the guy can mate with her? Come on, movie, don't make me do another 50 Shades reference. Well, looks like I'll have another weird, awkward sex scene to add to the pile. Although, this could use a little something extra. I'm glad somebody's putting a stop to this.
Take off those foul rags, Cedar. You're free now.
Dude, I was totally about to score! Meanwhile, Corvus decides to scare the Frowls by throwing the most bitchin' 4th of July celebration ever.
The president!
No, it's not. It's Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan.
Tiara of Frisco. You'll meet the president alone. Go to the edge of the contams. There you'll find your friend Linka, safe and unhurt.
And to prove I won't hurt anyone, I'm gonna blow myself up and cause this woman to fall to her death. Vina decides to meet with Corvus, but the other Frowls try to get her sister to disobey her by playing mean girls.
Tiara's gonna talk to a Plugot spirit, huh? Wouldn't be happening if you were the Tiara.
But I'm not.
Could be.
Yeah, you should totally be Tiara. I mean, you're way hotter than your sister. Plus, she's a total whorebag anyway. Like, oh my god. The Plugots have the right idea. When you've got playboys, who needs girls? Corvus lets the hostage go, but he's got another offer for Vina.
Frowls free.
And me?
I've got something special for Tiara's eyes only.
Let me guess, there was a stash of Viagra in that bunker too?
Vina gone. Morha and Lakella were cooking up trouble.
I don't see how homemade wine counts as trouble. And this movie really is science fiction if it thinks the Rolling Stones had a farewell tour in 1989. Hell, I'm surprised they're not still going in the year 3000. The big development here is that even though Vina told them not to, Rhea here convinces her sister and the other Frowls to attack the Plugots. But no time for that now. We gotta see Corvus try and get laid using his 80s man cave.
Prezzy's got more to show Tiara.
I've also got an original Galaga machine. But Corvus finally figures out that the best way to get a girl to like you is to just be yourself. After you've impressed her with how much stuff you have.
To talk.
About?
Man.
Man? What's it, man?
I'm a man.
No, god damn it, for the last time like this!
I am a man!
Negi macho. Negi toy.
Cedar.
Well, if you insist. So while Corvus busts a Plunut, Vina's sister leads an attack on the Plugots, which means the lookout on that penis tower clearly wasn't doing his job.
Damn it!
Well, damn!
Oh no, if only we had a bunch of advanced weapons to fight them with it. Oh yeah, right. By the way, they've been building up post-apocalyptic Rhea Perlman as the main villain of the movie, so how do you think she gets taken out? Yep, she's the first to die in the final battle. Sure, she's in pain, but she's really just angry that they smeared her makeup. This final battle scene is decently choreographed, but my biggest question is why Gruss doesn't just use that laser gun. Seriously, he never fires it once during the entire battle. This is what happens when you use your entire effects budget firing at a wall. I'm also questioning some of the men's tactics. Seriously, dude? Cunt punching? Not cool, man. Well, the battle seems pretty even at this point. How's Corvus doing?
He had his hands full with high-level negotiations. They had reached a delicate stage.
Actually, the negotiations only lasted about 2 minutes, but because Vina didn't know any better, that was good enough. And damn it, Gruss, this battle would be over a lot quicker if you just used that laser already. Nobody knocks off my hat, you bitch! Well, this doesn't seem to be doing much for Frau Plugot relations, but I'm sure Corvus will be able to smooth things over and holy shit! Yeah, that whole peace thing might be a little harder than you thought there, Corvus. Speaking of which, way to miss all the fighting while you go off to get laid, asshole.
While you were talking, Frau's were nuking.
Oh, I was doing more than just talking. Alright. I guess that probably doesn't make you feel any better, does it? Corvus goes to the Fraus to get revenge, but who are they kidding? These two can't stay mad at each other. Also, you can put the laser away, Gruss. We know you're not going to use it.
Your choice, Corvus. What's it gonna be?
Well, on the one hand, I'm angry several of my friends have been killed, but on the other hand, I would like to get laid again, so peace it is.
Maybe there was something men and women could do with each other besides fighting and nuking. I was gonna find out.
Gruss then found out what chlamydia is. So that's America 3000, although I gotta question that title, since according to the back of the DVD, the movie actually takes place in the year 2890. That is flagrant false advertising, movie. The movie has some interesting ideas, but things like the futuristic language come off more awkward than anything else. More than that, though, the movie is surprisingly tame given the weird premise. Judging by the poster, I was expecting that this could at least be a weird and crazy B-movie, but it suffers the problem of being too goofy to be taken seriously, yet too serious to be much fun. So as a result, it's just kinda bland. This definitely isn't the worst movie I've done on this show, but unless you're a big fan of post-apocalyptic movies, you could probably give this one a pass. But if nothing else, this movie teaches us the valuable lesson that the best way to end conflict and make peace with your enemy is to just have sex with them. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
Women!